Hello and welcome to AFcast. I am your host Malcolm, and today I'm going to be talking about some new things that I'm going to be doing on my podcast. The first thing is that I'm going to continue doing these weekly episodes every Saturday, but instead of doing like a full episode like on an update or a game, I'm just going to be doing a 15-minute period where I talk about something that I so it can be end up just being an update or something like that, but usually I'll be talking about a part of something, and then I'm going to be doing a full discussion of what I talked apart about during that on Wednesdays. So that way, anybody who just wants some like consistency in my podcast, they can just listen to those 15-minute episodes that I'll come out with weekly, and sometimes I'll have the Wednesday episodes as well. Another thing that I'm starting to do is going to have gaming discussions that I'm going to come out with every month on the first day of that month. So the first one will be gaming discussion of October, which will come out October 1st. And each time I'll have a topic and a group of friends with me that also play games, and we're just going to sit there and talk about that topic. And the topic that we're doing for October 1st is going to be top 5 action adventure games. So if you guys want to hear our opinions on our top 5 action adventure games, definitely take a listen on October 1st. And I hope that you enjoy these new things that I'm bringing to my podcast. So to kick off with the news and the games, there is, for September 25th, we have Valkyria Chronicles 4, which is coming for PS4, Xbox One, PC, and Switch. And also The Walking Dead, the final season, episode 2, on PS4, Xbox One, PC, and Switch. And then for September 27th, we have Life is Strange 2, episode 1, coming for PS4, Xbox One, or PC. And also Towerfall, which is coming for Switch. For September 28th, we have Dragon Ball FighterZ, which is coming for Switch, and then also FIFA 19, which is coming for PS4, PS3, Xbox One, Xbox 360, Switch, and PC, not Peace. I'm sorry. And as usual, that will be in the description of the episode if you guys want to see what they are called or how to spell them or anything like that, so that we don't have to try to listen and figure out what I'm saying. And also, apparently Halo 5 isn't coming to PC, which is sad. And also, Halo Infinite is going to be having microtransactions and anti-cheat measures on the PC. So, yeah, you can look forward to that, or not look forward to it. I don't know what your guys' opinions are on that. But anyway, let's jump into Shadow of the Tomb Raider, and this is one of the things where I'm going to be having this discussion. It's going to last up to like 15 minutes total for the episode. And then on Wednesday, I'm going to be coming out with a full episode that I do a full discussion on Shadow of the Tomb Raider. And I'm guessing that most of those are going to be pretty uneven with the time. So if you guys are also hoping that those will be a certain length of time, then that will probably not be the case. Anyway, for any of you that haven't played any of the Tomb Raider games, it is a trilogy. The first one was just Tomb Raider, I believe. Second one was Rise of the Tomb Raider, and then this one is Shadow of the Tomb Raider. So this came out a week ago, and it's just about treasure hunting, and obviously it's in tombs. You find the treasure in tombs. And it's an action-adventure video game, and also it is third-person perspective as Lara Croft, which is your main character, and it actually begins 2 months after Rise of the Tomb Raider, and it follows Lara Croft, and she ventures through Mesoamerica and South America to the legendary city of Paititi, or Paititi, or however you say that. I'm not good with pronunciation of these things. And she's also against a paramilitary organization called Trinity, which is common throughout the other 2 games. And she's racing to stop a Mayan apocalypse that she has started at the beginning of the game. And so apparently the idea is, this was a quote from Square Enix, I believe, or Crystal Dynamics. The idea is for Lara Croft to become the Tomb Raider she was always meant to be. I'm not entirely sure what that means, but I can definitely understand like what they're trying to portray, I guess, in the game. And you're also accompanied with your best friend, Jonah Maeva. Maeva, I don't know how you say his name. Once again, I'm not good at pronunciation of these things. Um, and somewhat through the game, you can actually play as a younger version of yourself, which I thought was very interesting because not a lot of games have you play as a younger version of yourself, especially some older games. A lot of newer games are starting to do that where they have backstories for you. And I really like that, especially since, there's it's there's a lot of mystery behind Laura's past. Um, and so it's really nice to get a little bit of clarity on that. And also just because it's just fun to play as a little kid in these types of games. Um, but yeah. And also, this is for all like games like Tomb Raider or Uncharted, where like you have these puzzles that are just amazing and they demand your attention. You have to focus on the details in the area. You have to know what you're doing. You have to know the controls. You have to know gameplay and everything like that. So that way you know what to do, especially since a lot of it is time sensitive. At least in this one it is, in Shadow of the Tomb Raider. And yeah. And along with that, there's actually challenge tombs that you can do to unlock special rewards. And so I find that very interesting because it gives you more not replayability, but just playability of the game. And so allows you to have more to do when you go back through the game. And also the gameplay is pretty much identical to Rise of the Tomb Raider, and this includes like the whole campfire system where you can fast travel between campfires so that way you can go in the open world and find relics and whatnot. And also, honestly, this game can be really creepy and graphic. So if you're listening for this and hoping for your like 10-year-old child to learn something about Mayan, because you actually can learn stuff from this game because it's actually somewhat historical. Obviously, they have to make up a plot that isn't exactly true. But yeah, I wouldn't recommend that for at least Shadow of the Tomb Raider. I'm not entirely sure about Rise of the Tomb Raider. I haven't played that in a while. But I mean, you quite literally have half a body drop in front of you with a jaguar standing on top of a tree with bright yellow eyes staring at you with pretty much blood going all the way up its fur. So yes, it is. It's pretty graphic, and it's fairly creepy at points. So I wouldn't recommend this to a younger audience, and I would definitely recommend this to somebody who can, not throw up. And also in this game, you can also upgrade your weapons, which isn't entirely usual for these types of games. You can upgrade your weapons, and you also have an upgrade branch, which is somewhat usual. It's becoming more common now in AA games or action adventure games, and yeah, it's just really cool seeing some of the skills that you can unlock, and also some of the things that you can do because, I mean, it adds an entirely another layer to combat in the game because there's these special arrows that you can get at one point in the game where you can make people hallucinate and think they're seeing a jaguar, and so they'll end up shooting their friends because they think it's a jaguar, and then they actually end up dying of fear, and so yeah, that's also a creepy, gruesome part of the game, but yeah, you can also, along with that, you can actually collect resources in the area. Like you can hunt for animals, or you can collect plants that will like heal you or give you different like vision abilities or resistance, anything like that. And with some of the stuff that you can collect, you can actually craft items like arrows for your bow. And so I definitely like how that works. So yeah, and then there's also a new barter system in the game, which actually allows you to trade resources for different weapons or gear that you can use throughout the game. Also allows you to like salvage parts and weapons and Paititi. I don't think it's just Paititi. I think it's other places as well. I could be wrong on that because I haven't done much of. I'm only like halfway through the gameplay really because I've been busy with other stuff. So I'm not entirely sure how it works down to the T. but maybe I'll have more for you on Wednesday. Um, and you are actually also able to talk to people that don't have anything to do with the story. So some of them will actually give you objectives to go to, or some of them will give you like a location of like a gold cache or something like that. But some of them just tell you these very interesting stories. It's just because you end up finding the lost city of Paititi, which is where the main story ends up taking place, and it's just one, it's beautiful, it's absolutely gorgeous, and yeah, and it's just yeah. And so when you talk to the locals, you can't talk to all the locals, but you can talk to some of the locals, and some of the stories that they tell are just really amazing. Some of them are beautiful, some of them are believable, some of them are unbelievable. Depends on who you are, and some of them are just yeah, they're really, it's really cool that the people whoever made like all of these different things that you can talk about with the locals, it just adds another thing to the story of the game that like isn't there in a lot of other games. Like once again, this is another thing that games like this are starting to do more often, is just talking to random people, but not a lot of them do it the way that this game did, where it just adds another layer of story, even though it's not part of the main story. I don't know if you entirely understand what I'm saying, but it's definitely, I would definitely recommend talking to every person that you can come across, because it's absolutely amazing to hear some of their stories. And some of them will actually give you side missions to do. And so these different side missions will also, they don't really give you anything in particular. They just they just make you upgrade faster, obviously, because they give you more XP. But also they're also interesting. It's like it's like a different version of someone telling you a story from the other locals. Instead, you actually get to play it, or you get to figure out stuff, or you get to do other puzzles, or you even just get to walk around the world in some cases. Like there are some cases where you just walk around and talk to other locals. That's literally one of the side missions, and their stories are also amazing because these people that you talk to are outcasts, and so you get to hear their reasons for being outcasted. And some of them are just like really beautiful and rebellious, obviously, if they're outcasted, but like a lot of them are really innocent. And so it's just really nice listening to the different locals and what they have to say, anything like that. um, I bet you not a lot of people would agree, but like there are definitely some people who wouldn't agree with me. Some people find it a waste of time. I definitely see that if you think that like, if you really want to just hear more about you know stuff, it's really nice to listen to the locals because they do have a lot to say, and they do have very interesting stories to tell. And so yeah, that's all I'm gonna do for today because I'm starting to reach my limit. But like I said earlier, just on Wednesday, I'm coming out with a full release of the entirety of my opinion and everything like that on Shadow of the Tomb Raider, pros and cons, everything like that, everything that I did for Spider-Man essentially, except for broken up into a separate episode. And another new thing that I'm doing is I'm doing terms of the day. So today's term of the day is AFK, which stands for away from keyboard. And more recently, it started to be away from console. Just if you can imagine console with a K instead of a C. Um, but yeah, it's essentially it just started to be this thing where anytime that somebody would be standing still, or anytime that you had to like use the restroom or something, you would call it AFK because they were away from their keyboard. They're quite literally not there. So a lot of time when you see like if you don't have communication with someone and they're just like kind of sitting in place, you can most likely assume that they are AFK. So if you ever hear that term like that, that's what it means. And yeah, I'm going to be doing that every episode as well as the term of the day. Anyway, game on.